Good day, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to today's webinar. Um, to continue with the webinar, I'll be taking the citation of Professor Rotimi Aluko. Dr. Rotimi Aluko is a professor and Tier 1 Canada Research Chair in the Department of Food and Human Nutritional Sciences, University of Manitoba, Winnipeg, Canada, where he also serves as a director of the Richardson Center for Food Technology and Research. He holds a PhD in food science from the University of Guelph, Ontario, an MSc from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, Nigeria, and a BSc in biochemistry from the University of Lagos, Nigeria. After the doctoral program, he worked as a postdoctoral fellow at the University of Guelph from 1996 to 1998. From 1998 to 2001, he was a research scientist with Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada, Saskatchewan. In 2001, he joined the University of Manitoba as an assistant professor and became a full professor in 2010. He has 24 years of research experience as an independent investigator with a focus on the structure, function, properties of food proteins, peptides, and polyphenolic compounds. In addition to 315 peer-reviewed journal article publications, he holds 2 patents on bioactive peptides, one of which was licensed to a Canadian nutraceutical company for the purpose of commercialization. He has produced over 90 trainees in all categories, including undergraduates, graduates, and postdoctoral researchers. The American Chemical Society has featured novel scientific discoveries from his lab twice, in 2009 and 2018, as global press releases, including the discovery of novel antihypertensive peptides and beta taste blocking peptides. He has received the University of Manitoba Merit Award in 6 different years for outstanding achievements in research and service. Dr. Aluko has been recognized in multiple years, 5 of the past 7 years, by Clarivate Analytics as a highly cited researcher, top 0.1% of world scientists, with published scientific journal article citation record in the top 1 globally. In 2015, he received the Canadian Institute of Food Science and Technology William J. Ever Award for Outstanding Research and Service to the Food Industry. In 2022, he was the recipient of the American Oil Chemists Society Lifetime Achievement Award for Outstanding Research Work in Proteins and Co-Products. He is a fellow of several professional organizations, including the CFST Institute of Food Technologists, AOCS International Society of Nutraceuticals and Functional Foods, International Academy of Food Science and Technology, and Royal Society of Canada. He currently serves as co-editor in chief of the Journal of Functional Foods. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished participants, please kindly join me to welcome Professor Rotimi Aluko to the webinar this evening. You can have the stage, sir. You're welcome, sir.
Okay, thank you so much for the introduction. First of all, let me thank Dr. Dauda and the academic and grant writing enclave staff for inviting me to make this presentation. But most importantly, I want to thank everyone who is attending this webinar for your time, because I mean, you could be doing something else, but for you to sort of allocate some time to listen to me to give this presentation. It's really a big honor for me, and I do appreciate all of you and your time. And I'm hoping that by the time you leave this webinar, you will, gain something in terms of ensuring the integrity of your research work. So without further ado, I'll try and share my screen and make the presentation. I'll try to make it within 30-35 minutes so that we can have sufficient time for discussion, because I realize that this is a very, very, what I can say, controversial topic. So you might have a lot of questions. So I will leave some time for us to have a very robust discussion at the end. So all right. Okay, so I'm assuming that if you can see my screen. If you can't, just let me know. Um, but again, this is what I'm going to talk about. Basically, proactive measures to safeguard research integrity and avoiding predatory journals. Like they always say, the popular saying, prevention is better than cure. So it's always good for you to take proactive measures to ensure that you don't fall into the trap of people who are basically set up to exploit you for your money. All right, so so that's what we're going to talk about in the next 30 minutes. So before I do that, just to give you a brief idea in terms of my editorial service record, because again, most of what I'm going to be talking about is based on my own personal experience, and of course, the experience dealing with other dealing with other colleagues who had similar problems, and because of my long service, I've had a lot of experience in this area. So I was associate editor for Journal of Functional Foods for 3 years, September 14 to 17. And from 2001, 2011 up to present, I serve as associate editor of current topics, industrial research. And of course, I was editor in chief of Journal of Football Chemistry for 8 years until April this year because I had to uh, step down and go to another journal. So from May this year, I resumed as co-editor in chief of the Journal of Functional Foods. Okay, so basically that just gives you an idea of my editorial service. So really, the key question here is what are predatory journals? Now, like I said initially, predatory journals are publications with the major goal of financial return rather than advancement of scientific knowledge. So again, these are smart businessmen who set up these publications is simply to make money. They're not really interested in advancing scientific knowledge or actually helping you to grow as a scientist. Okay, so it's a very selfish interest in terms of simply commercial purpose, and therefore they usually lack a very clear scope of publication. So one of the major issues with these types of journals is the fact that they make the scope very very wide, so that, and the whole idea again is to, it's like a fisherman, right, trying to catch fish. So you spread the net very widely. All right, the same thing these people do here. So the scope of publication is very wide. Even sometimes you cannot even determine what is the scope of publication by simply looking at their website. You don't actually know what they are publishing. All right, and the whole idea is to allow them to receive as many manuscripts from different sources. They don't care about the integrity of your work or the integrity of the journal itself. They are mostly concerned about being able to charge you some money, okay, and make some money off you. All right. I think somebody raised a hand. I'm not sure what that is for, but basically, uh, again, there's no clear scope of publication. For example, I've received invitations. Believe it or not, I'm a food scientist. Yet I have received invitations from so-called journals of obstetrics and gynecology. All right, obstetrics and gynecology, and I'm sure the medical doctors on this forum will be laughing, asking why. I have no idea why but I can assure you, if I send them any paper, they will publish it. All right, so that just gives you an idea of the type of journals we're dealing with here. So clearly, very very lack of scope of publication. The other aspect is the fact that these are questionable or usually unrecognized publishers. All right, and it doesn't This doesn't, destroy uh, genuine publishers who are coming up as new publishers. All right. Okay. There are some new publication houses that are genuine, that really they want to start business. They want to provide a more competitive environment to the big publishers. So that's understandable. All right. They will have a very clear scope of publication for their journals, and they will have other attributes that will allow you to recognize that, yeah, these are real journals. But here we're talking of, a publisher that really, they're just out of the blue. You cannot trace them very well. It's difficult to actually confirm who they are. All right. So very, very questionable. So these are things you look for. All right. When trying to publish, if you get invitations to submit a manuscript, go and check the website. Are these people really, are they recognized? Do they have a record, a track record, all right, of good publications, all right? And if it's a new publishing house, then do your own do your own research to find out, are these people recognized? And you're going to see later on some of the things you can do to check, okay, whether these types of publishers are actually genuine or they're just there for the money. No, so again, like I said, the emphasis is on article publication fee rather than rigorous peer review. Okay, again, you'll see later I'll mention this, where they will tell you, oh, within a few days we get your article published. And when you get reviews back, they're usually very, very poor. Even you wonder yourself, whether this is true or not, that you are getting such a very weak types of feedback. All right. So again, emphasis on article publication fee rather than providing you with a rigorous peer review to make you a good scientist. I hope we all know that despite the problem with the regular peer review, and I know that it has its own deficiency, but the whole process of peer review is to provide scientists with the other side of the coin. All right, because when you're writing a manuscript, you're looking at it from your own view, okay, your side of the coin. All right, you need somebody to look at the other side of the coin and tell you, all right, whether what you are doing is correct, okay, or not, or whether it is important or not. And this allows us to grow as scientists, all right, in terms of you being able to develop strong research programs, all right, being able to train, okay, very, very good students, all right. These feedbacks from manuscript submissions from our peers are very, very important. All right. And again, like I said, it's not perfect. Okay, you do have some really, you can have some very, very insulting and very, very condescending types of peer review. But I can assure you over 90% of peer review, all right, are actually very, very, helpful in terms of making you grow. They might reject your manuscript, but then you can use the feedback, okay, not only to design your experiments, but to correct, okay, your manuscript and submit to another journal. All right, it has happened even myself. I've had, manuscript rejected 2 or 3 times. All right, but I keep using, I keep adding all the comments, and eventually get it published. All right. So again, the peer review should be rigorous. All right, because it helps for us to become good scientists. And again, one of the features of this type of journal is your regular publication schedule. So if you go to their website, really, you cannot figure out exactly when they publish, whether there's a schedule or not, because basically, what they're doing is, they're just looking for money. And so they get, manuscripts and just throw it there. There's really no solid record of the publication schedule. And most of them publish very few articles per year or even per issue. Okay, and again, this does not apply to new journals. Okay, so don't get me wrong. When you start a new journal, is especially if it's a well-established journal, you are likely in the first few years to have very few articles because nobody knows you very well yet. All right. But we're talking here of, these, predatory journals that have been there for some time. But even then, okay, you can see that they only publish very few articles per year simply because they have no integrity. And so, really, most scientists wouldn't patronize them. And so you see that, and this happens to me a lot. So I don't know whether any of you have experienced this, where the email message is actually addressed to the wrong person. All right. So, if you publish with a collaborator in the journal, so they take, because they have, if for example that publication, all right, you have many collaborators, they will just pick one collaborator and address the email to that collaborator, even though they're using your email address, but the message itself is addressed to, oh dear, for example, like me now, they will send an email to me and say, Dr. XYZ instead of Dr. Aluko, so immediately these are just useless journals, all right, because any journal that really has its onions, all right, should get your name correct. I mean, there might be mistake in spelling your name, but in terms of sending an email to the wrong person, that these are not really very serious journals. Yeah, and one thing which, of course, and I'm sure again some of you have received this, is that the language is very flattering. Oh, we read your previous publication. It was excellent, exceptional. You have a track record. You're a great scientist. Even though sometimes they've written that, believe it or not, they've written that to my office assistant, who is not even a scientist. But because they're simply, taking emails from the internet, all right, they address it, they flatter you, oh, you're a great somebody, and they tell you that, oh, your publication is guaranteed, so even though they have not even seen your manuscript, but you are being told that your publication is guaranteed. Any reputable journal, okay, will tell you that, okay, publication is subject to peer review. All right. Okay, but these types of journal, when you see this type of invitation with a very flattering language, all right, that tells you, oh, your publication is guaranteed, please run. Okay, don't patronize them. Okay. And then there's actually, the opposite side, whereby, you actually get very intimidating email that basically tell you, we need your manuscript within the next, 7 days. Okay. Submit your manuscript, they intimidate with lots of email every day. All right. Submit your manuscript, you have only 3 days to submit your manuscript. Okay. Again, reputable journals will not intimidate you asking for manuscript submission. Okay, so in terms of recognizing these types of journals, all right, just to add to what I've said already, okay, like I said, you have constant, almost daily, unsolicited email requests for manuscripts, okay, and like I said, the request is usually, they say any type of manuscript. Okay, and again, they don't even know the type of work you do. Okay, yet they tell you any type of manuscript, just submit any type of manuscript. It could be just a 2-page opinion, a 1-page opinion, all right, something like that. All right, so again, these are very desperate journals who are basically looking to take your money. They claim very fast, processing. I've received, invitation that tells me that my manuscript will be accepted within 3 days. All right. So tell me, what type of peer review are you going to do within 3 days to get a manuscript, accepted? All right. Not even including your revisions. And they just say, oh, within 3 days, we can assure you your manuscript will be accepted. All right. Again, this is a clear indication of a predatory journal. They are not really serious. Okay. They usually use very suspicious, peer review process, or like I said, very poor reviews. Okay, when I say suspicious peer review, is the fact that you get the review back very quickly, and then the comments are not even understandable. The comments are very poor, It's as if the reviewer has no idea exactly what you did, but they're simply trying to say something. All right. And so such types of reviews are very, very suspicious because it's very likely that somebody, okay, within their team there was the one that wrote it, not a scientist. All right. They just, they fabricate such types of review, all right, just to claim that they did peer review, all right. But it's not actually a peer review. It's more like a review from one of their staff. Okay. And again, one of the very funny parts is the fact that a lot of these journals will indicate when they send you an email or even on their website, they will indicate an impact factor or even some citation metrics. All right. Of course, most of these impact factors that they indicate are fake. All right. And so if you go to the original source of impact factors like journal citation records, or if you go to Scopus, you see that the impact factor is fake, it's not there. Okay, they are not listed. All right. Once you see a journal, all right, basically giving you a fake, unofficial impact factor, know that these are people who basically are pretending to be publishing good science, but they're actually not. Okay, they are simply there to take your money. And editorial boards, will list people whose research works are not related to the journal's publication scope. Okay, or in some cases, their affiliations cannot be verified. Okay, so they put people on the editorial board as a way of justifying the publication. Say, oh, okay, yeah, we have all the scientists on the board, but actually, when you look at some of them, okay, some people on the editorial board, okay, their research works are actually not related to the journal's publication scope. All right, and I'll give you my own example. I've been listed once in a pharmacology, all right, so-called pharmacology, journal, all right, and I do no pharmacology work, all right, and I had to tell them to take down my name. All right, it took some time, but eventually they took down my name. And apart from doing that, you will see that again they add people there, and because they are using the information they get from the internet, sometimes which might not be correct. Okay, you will see that their affiliations are wrong because those people they've already, maybe they were at the University of Lagos, all right, but they have left for the University of Ilorin or somewhere, all right. But of course, these fake publishers, they are taking it from the archives, all right. They see, oh, University of Lagos, they put it there, all right. So, a genuine publisher will ask you, all right? A genuine publisher will ask you for your current affiliation, all right? They're not just going to scan the internet and put an affiliation there. So these are some of the really very, very interesting parts of these types of journals, all right? And apart from listing people who have no relationship with the journal scope, another thing they also do is that the editorial board consists of little or no reputable scientists. Okay, or these are people with minimal scientific records. All right, or respected scientists who are not aware that their names are listed. Okay, so there are many categories here. So let's take them one by one. So sometimes they will list people, okay, who basically have no, reputation in terms of, a record of solid scientific publications. All right, okay, they'll list them. All right, and some of these people are just desperate to be on editorial boards. All right, okay, but when you Google their, search their record, you see that these people have very, very minimal, publication record or achievements scientifically. All right. Uh, and so you need to be very careful with such types of journals. But also, they can also do it the other way, whereby they look for respected scientists who are not aware that their names are listed. All right. So, and this happened to me, and I'll give you an example shortly, you know, and they simply take your name, put your name there and your address, to basically, give some dignity to what they're doing, all right, or some credibility to their journal, because they know that people recognize your name, and so they think, oh, if I put this person's name and people see this name on our journal editorial board, that gives credibility, all right. But unfortunately, most of the time, these scientists are not even aware, okay, that their names are listed. Okay, all right. And so sometimes when you see somebody's name or a colleague or somebody that is really well, achieved in the area, your area of work, when you see their name in questionable websites of journals, send them an email, ask them, are you aware your name is on this editorial board? Did you give permission for your name to be listed? All right, because most of the time, these journals, they simply take names and add them to the editorial board. All right, and this happened to me, and I'll just give you an example. So this happened to me a couple of years ago. I received this email, from a so-called journal, and this suddenly appointed me. I was appointed as an associate editor, and I was asked to handle a paper. You can see there, dynamics of drug interaction in modern medicine. All right, I have no clue what was that. I don't do drug work. All right, and they actually gave me, a username. They gave me a password, but you can see that, like I mentioned initially, not getting your name correct. You can see that they addressed me as Dr. Rotimi E. All right, okay. Again, these are people with very, very poor, editorial skills. All right, so they don't even know my full name. All right, they always address me Rotimi E for in all their correspondence. They never used my last name, so you can even see my username there is Rotimi E. All right, so this is a very good example of a very, very, fake, journal. So they listed my name on their website, and when I was alerted to this by a friend, so I contacted them to take down my name, and they refused. It took a long time, over a year, believe it or not, before they eventually removed my name from their website. But even after they removed my name from their website, they kept sending me this type of email asking me to handle manuscripts. Okay, until I reported them to my vice president research here about their conduct. All right, and so and so eventually I wrote this email. I wrote to them, made them to stop. Okay, I said I have requested several times that you stop sending this type of garbage to me. I'm not an editor of your predatory and useless journal. Please stop this nonsense. Okay, it was only after this very strong message I sent to them that they stopped sending me this invitation to handle a manuscript, and then they removed my name, okay, from the editorial from their website. So again, these are examples of journals that are very, very desperate to list people they think are achievers to give credibility to their very, very fake journal. All right. So then, very quickly, recognizing predatory journals. One of the things some of these publishing houses do now is they acquire a journal name that is very similar to that of a reputable or established journal. All right, and basically is to draw you, all right, to them, because they know that in your area of public in your area of work, this type of journal is is very important. All right, so what they do is they clone their own by simply changing something, okay, within that recognized journal name. All right, and so what you need to do then is, if you see that type of journal, check their website to see the quality of the published articles. Okay, now again, don't get me wrong. There are many journals on the internet with very similar names. All right, but in most cases, okay, they will be published probably by the same publisher, but even if they are published by different publishers, you can see a record of high quality published articles. All right. So again, don't just take it for granted that, oh yeah, this name is very similar. Okay, check the website to make sure that really these are credible publishers. And believe it or not, again, this has happened to me. Articles have lots of grammatical or formatting errors. All right. I was a victim, I think about this was when the predatory journals were just coming. I think this was about 16, 17 years ago. And I had no idea. I was still a young scientist then, very desperate to publish. And I got this invitation to publish an article, a manuscript, blah, blah, blah. And they told me, oh, even in this case, they said because they invited me and I'm on the editorial board, the publication fee was reduced, even though not waived, it was reduced. That's what they told me. All right. And, being naive and as a young scientist there, yeah, I said, oh, yeah, sure, because by then the whole issue of predatory journals had not really had not taken, foods as such, So people are not really aware of it. All right. So I fell into that trap. All right. And I submitted the manuscript. Of course, what do you expect? I think it was within 2 weeks it got accepted. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is great, you know. But then when I got the so-called galley proof, oh my goodness, it was so bad, that I went through like almost 3 rounds with them that this is wrong, this is not correct. I didn't write this. Okay, how did this one get there? All right. So again, some of this, and that is because they have they don't have well trained, okay, staff, okay, to do these types of, work. All right. And so they publish articles with poor grammar, poor formatting. So if you go to their website and you see these types of articles, all right, then you know that no, this is not a serious journal. A serious journal will not commit such very, very, common or very, very, preventable types of errors. And sometimes again, on their website, or in the email they send to you, all right, they tell you they are in a certain country, all right, but when you actually go to their website, the contact address is in a different country, all right. Again, some of them, they do this simply to mask their actual address, all right. So please be very careful with that. Some of them they've had previously removed articles. They have previously removed articles or even internal journals from the web without informing authors. All right. And some of you might be thinking, how is this possible? Oh, yeah, it is possible because, all right, they are not, okay, credible journal houses. They can just say, you know what? Because you have to pay to host, these, journals, right? They can say, you know what? The amount of money we are paying to host this journal, okay, is more than the amount of income we're getting from the article processing charges. So they just remove the journal from the web. And I've had this happen, that I had to write the scientist that, what the hell were you thinking of publishing in this journal? Because what happened was that I was asked to review a very big grant by Canada, by one of the Canadian funding agencies. And so one of the, and as to do a thorough review sometimes, apart from what the applicant is telling me, I try to look at their publication record, their actual journals, not just the title. We actually read, okay, part of the journal. So, one of the listed publication for this scientist looked very, very interesting. So I went to the internet to look for it. I couldn't find it. All right. And so I went to the so-called journal's website and found that the article had been removed. The whole issue that covered the article was already removed from the journal, and so again, these are really very, very devastating. Okay, because okay, how do you view these scientists? Even though it's not their fault, all right, okay, but they are listing something in a grant application, okay, that does not, but that publication does not exist anymore. That is very embarrassing. All right. So these are things, you need to be very careful. If you are aware of journals that have previously removed articles or eliminated journals, all right, okay, please avoid them. Okay, guidelines regarding article processing fees are not transparent. Okay, so you may not even know your payment until manuscript has been accepted. All right, and they do this so that they can charge you as much as they want, because now they have given you the bait and you have taken the bait, isn't it? Okay, your manuscript has been accepted. They can tell you, oh, now the article processing fee is $1,000. All right, so they don't tell you from the beginning. Okay, they just say, oh, we need your manuscript, just submit it. Okay, and then after a week they say, oh, it's accepted, but your charges are $1,000. All right, so again, if you don't see a very clear article processing fee guidelines on the website, please don't submit your manuscript there. And sometimes they also, these fake journals, because they want to put you in a very tough and very very negative situation. They actually ask you to sign the publishing agreement even before your manuscript has been accepted. All right, which is the other way around, isn't it? Normally, in a normal journal, okay, your manuscript is accepted, then you get, the publishing agreement for you to sign. But sometimes, some of these fake journals, they actually send you a publishing agreement, okay, when you submit your manuscript. All right, and the whole idea is to be able to prevent you from easily withdrawing your manuscript after it has been accepted. So if for any reason, okay, you want to withdraw your manuscript, you realize that, oh, this is a predatory journal, I'm going to withdraw my manuscript. No, you already signed a publishing agreement. Okay, it becomes a problem. All right, and either you lose your money, okay, that you have paid, or they actually tell you, if you haven't paid yet, they will tell you, okay, before we can withdraw your manuscript, okay, because we already accepted it, now you want to withdraw it, but before we can withdraw it, you must pay us a certain amount of money, okay, because we have already processed your manuscript. So be very very careful, okay, if you get these types of publishing agreement, okay, prior to your manuscript being accepted, that is a clear sign that this is not a genuine journal. Okay, and also it's very very important, if you do everything else, okay, and you are still in doubt, okay, one way to confirm is to ensure that you check recognized databases and see whether this journal are there, because even newly established journals by credible publishing houses will appear, okay, in some of these one or two of these databases. All right, so you can check Simago, you can check PubMed, you can just check Scopus, you can check Clarivate. All right, check all these databases, okay, if you are still in doubt, even after you have done all these, checks that I've talked about earlier on, but you're still not sure, all right, then go and check a recognized database, see whether the name, okay, of the journal or the publisher is on these recognized databases. So again, one of the most popular databases, especially for open access journals, is the directory of open access journals. All right. So again, assuming you don't have access to Simago or PubMed or Scopus, all right, because virtually all of these predatory journals are open access, all right, it means that if they are credible, all right, they should be on the directory of open access journals. All right, again, this is available online. Okay, go and check it. Okay, is this journal listed, okay, on this database? If it's not there, be very very suspicious. It's probably not a credible journal. Okay, and safeguarding your research integrity, so avoiding these journals. Again, you can check the Council of Publication Ethics, okay, website, and do a search of recognized journals and publishers. All right, again, even after checking the directory of open access journal, again, if you are still in doubt, then go and check COPE website. Okay, they have a list of all recognized journals and all recognized publishing houses, all right, in that website. If it's not there, they're probably fake. All right. I've already indicated the DOAG But another open access, website you can check is called the Open Access Scholarly Publishers Association. All right. So this association lists all recognized open access publishers, and these are, publishers, that, are supposed, to publish, good journals, but again, user discretion. For example, we also have, excuse me, we also have Cabell's whitelist. Cabell's is an online tool where they provide you with two types of lists. So you have the whitelist. Whitelist provides a list of recognized journals that have acceptable peer review process. All right, and they have transparent business practices in terms of how they collect the open access fees. All right, so this whitelist is very, very important. So please check it, okay, and make sure that the publisher is on this list. All right. And also, of course, those to avoid, because apart from having the whitelist, Cabells also have the blacklist that basically contains information on journals and publishers with questionable publication practices. All right. Again, I will try to avoid the journals or publishers, okay, that are on the Cabell's blacklist, okay, because it probably means that they have very questionable publication practices, and so they might be predatory in nature. And if you are really for high quality, okay, and looking for journals with impact factors, okay, then use the journal citation records to find recent and previous citation records. And again, I know that, okay, not all journals without impact factor are predatory. We should emphasize that, okay? All right, there are good journals, okay, that don't have as impact factor yet, and they are well recognized. They are they are produced by good publishing or credible publication houses. All right, so that does not mean that they are not credible simply because they don't have impact factor. All right, uh, what I'm emphasizing is in case, because some people are very, very hooked on to impact factor. If you want to publish, if you want all your journal, I mean, all your manuscripts always to be published in a journal with impact factor, all right, then avoid, believing the impact factors that some of these journals send you by email. Instead, go to the official website of Journal Citation Records. There you will find all journals that have official or recognized impact factors. You can also use Scopus SiteScore. SiteScore is used by Elsevier, very similar to Journal Citation Record, but the way they do the assessment is different from the Journal Citation Record. All right, so that's why you see that in most cases the site scores are usually higher than the impact factor. All right, so but again, site score, is officially recognized as an index you can use to evaluate the quality of a publication, a journal, okay, especially if it is published by a reputable journal. All right. So I think that is basically it, because I want us to have sort of more time for discussion. Okay, just lastly, sorry. So why you should avoid predatory journals? Scientific conversation is usually undermined by fake peer reviews. Okay, you can imagine, okay, having errors in your work, okay, and it's not spotted. Okay, what happens? You are going to carry that error, okay, all over. You're going to use to train students, isn't it? All right. So when you have fake peer reviews, you are shortchanging yourself in terms of having a quality feedback, okay, from experts in the field. All right. If you remember my earlier, indication that these types of having credible peer review is very helpful. All right. But when you don't do that, okay, then you basically undermine the whole essence of scientific publication. Your work is less likely to be found, read, and utilized by peers because the journal is not indexed. Sorry, it should be not, okay? I'll correct that. The journal is not indexed, okay, in reputable databases. All right. And of course, this undermines your international recognition as a reputable scientist. Okay, you can imagine, all right, telling a friend, okay, that you publish this and that, but they can actually not find your publication in a database. All right. They can only find it on the publisher's website. All right. Again, how do people find your work? We all use databases to look for journals when we are writing papers. All right. So if they cannot find your work, you're not going to be cited. Okay. People are not going to know about your work. Okay. Potential to be scammed and lose your work. Okay, articles could be taken off the well without notice. I'll already give you an example. This was a real example, not fake. I experienced it, okay, with a colleague, okay, listing an article in a grant application, a national Canadian grant application. But that article no longer exists on the internet. All right. So you can imagine the embarrassment, okay, and the type of negative implication on the integrity of the researcher. All right. So apart from losing your money, okay, when such things happen, because you paid for it, you paid for the article to be published, but the publisher are taking it off. We don't see it anymore. So you lost your money, but also you lost your research output. Okay, why do we publish? We publish so that our peers can know what we are doing. All right, but now you not only lose your money, but even that particular research output is no longer there. And unfortunately, you cannot republish it. Okay, so these are reasons why you should avoid this type of journals. You may be asked to pay an amount, okay, to get your manuscript withdrawn. I've mentioned this earlier on. Okay, if you're not very careful, okay, with the publishing agreement, okay, if you eventually detect or you change your mind, all right, they will ask you to still pay, all right, okay, to get your manuscript withdrawn. So you are paying for nothing. Your work may be copied or stolen, but you may never know. Again, remember, okay, because it is not in a database, all right, when scientists like you are searching for papers, they cannot find it, all right, and so even you yourself may not find it, except that you have it in your personal record. And so if somebody else take your paper, copy it, okay, and publish it somewhere else, you are not going to know. Okay, so you are losing your intellectual property, okay, because your work is not visible out there. Okay, so I think I've talked enough. Give us some time to have a discussion. So again, thank you so much, and hopefully it's helpful for you to what I've listed above, and you can use it in your program to ensure that most importantly, we do a lot of research. Is it costs money? It costs time. It costs your time. Please be very careful, okay, not to lose such hard work. Okay, thank you.